And welcome everybody to the mj&ty podcast show. Today is Thursday, October 21st. Today, the Browns are playing the Denver Broncos, and unfortunately, they're playing Case Keenum today. But
terrible decision. Terrible decision.
Well, Baker's kind of hurt. He doesn't have much of a shoulder right now. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that today.
Don't get me started.
We're not going to talk about that today.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I was going to take it up to probably 90 or 100. But I'll save that for next week.
All right. So, some of you, well, hopefully all of you that are, at least that are subscribed here, know that me and Ty have our own separate channels. And
we talk about different stuff.
Yeah, Sunday when I got home from the Browns game, I was so pissed off at what happened in that game that I just had to make a video of me ranting and rambling about how the Browns played horribly and how the referees gave so many chances to the Cardinals, even though they also played pretty horribly, or they were not impressive in my opinion. That got a lot of it. That video got a lot of hate from Cardinals fans. So,
can I just say this?
Yeah.
Before we read your comments on your main channel, should next week we read mine on my main channel?
Yeah, that way we can inflate both of our egos.
Because I know. You and me got each other's backs, 100%.
Heck yeah.
But we're going to get a lot of hate.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, on with the video. We're gonna start right here. Oh, salty little boy. Refs were bad for both sides. No, they weren't. Did you even watch the game? Look, yeah, there were calls that they shouldn't have been called, but not to justify how they played it, and just honestly got outbeaten. I agree. The Browns did not play the greatest game in the world. Their offense looked flat aside from a few plays. Same goes for their defense. I'm just saying whenever the defense was making plays that weren't at the line of scrimmage, there was a penalty that led to a Cardinals score. And I stand by that comment. I stand by that remark. The refs had several bad calls for both sides. One or two more went the Cards' way. But that doesn't change the fact that the Browns played like trash. And yes, I watched the game, and I'm just not blinded by salt like you.
Well, wait a minute. You really said that?
No, some other guy said that.
Oh,
he was talking to me.
Guy said that. I was like, you really said that?
There's more than one or two more calls that went the way of the Cardinals than the way of the Browns. After watching that game live, like actually live at the stadium, there were a lot of bad calls and missed calls and about 90% of them went the Cardinals' way, and unless the Browns got away with like holding at the line of scrimmage, and you couldn't get a good view of that. There were maybe one or two that went the Browns' way. However, multiple missed PI calls and unnecessary roughness for grazing Kyler Murray when it would have brought up fourth down are not huge game changers. I'm not excusing the Browns for the way they played. If you actually watched the video, you would have heard me say, I'm not excusing the Browns. Let me ask you this.
Are you asking me?
Yes, and I'm also asking the viewers of this video if anyone's viewing
All
this.
right. Because I got confused. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I thought you were yelling at me.
No. Why would I yell at you?
I don't know.
When you did nothing. So, in what universe is grazing the side of a player in tackle football unnecessary roughness? In what universe is pushing the quarterback, not even to the ground, mind you, roughing the passer?
I totally agree with you. On this, but let me just say this. There was a lot of bad calls, and I totally agree what you said in your video, because us and the refs, we just don't get along.
Oh no, it hasn't been that way for many decades.
It been that way since you and me were even born.
Yep.
Or when we were born. But like, I'm going to say this. Sometimes, I told you this off camera, and I'm going to say it again. Sometimes the ref calls, how can I put it in PG moment? Like, say it in
Terrible,
PG,
god-awful.
because I don't want to go into PG 13 or rated R, but version.
We can go into PG-13, and we can probably go into PG-13 on this channel. Unless the overlords at YouTube don't want that.
All right. It was kind of, how can you put it?
BS.
Yes, BS. Yeah. It was, the refs were calling BS calls because we don't get along with the refs. Okay?
Yep.
If you're a Browns fan like me and Marc, you know that the refs and the Browns don't get along. And it has been that for a very long time.
Bills fans can probably relate to this as well.
Yeah, Bills fans can.
Patriots fans, probably not.
But like, that's just what I gotta say. But
yeah. Cardinals dominated. Cardinals dominated. That's why your offense looked flat. Defense on their heels because Kyler Murray carved them up. Carved them up while putting the ball on the ground 4 frickin' times. And getting bailed out by long penalties. And not my idea of carving them up, of carving anyone up. But okay. Browns definitely got outplayed and looked terrible. But look at the type of bad calls the Browns got and the type the Cards got. When they occurred during drives and how they affected the drives. The ones against the Browns were drive extenders or 40-yard PI calls that directly contributed to points for the Cards. The ones that went against the Cardinals did nothing to help the Browns to easy points or move them from their own territory into the red zone. They aren't comparable at all. You said it well enough.
Who?
This guy,
Well, I
the guy
told.
that wrote this comment.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Let's see how the Cardinals or whatever team you root for performs when every time their defense actually does something, it is negated for no reason. First off, refs make big mistakes every game. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. The Cardinals capitalized while the Browns didn't. Can't blame the refs when you can only score 14 points and 7 of those were a fluke play. Well, on the flip side, there also weren't any long penalties that put the Browns into that. There weren't any long penalties against the Cardinals defense that put them into it. That put the Browns into the red zone with a short field.
Can I just say this about the Cardinals? I know you will agree with me on this.
Yeah.
Play that the Browns did that I think was amazing. Do you remember the pass before half to I can't even think
Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, that long Hail Mary was quite an incredible play, I think. I mean,
if he didn't catch that, because I was nervous because he had like 4 or 5 defenders on him.
To make that throw even more impressive, Mayfield was thrown diagonally. So, I mean, he just casually threw a ball 70 yards in the air. And they got a touchdown out of it.
Like, that was one of the best plays I think I seen Baker make.
Yep. LOL and LOL. Browns for wrecked. Growing pains. There were lots of penalties for both sides, and most of them were dumb, but not 23 points worth of penalties. The Cardinals didn't have very many penalties. However, on every play that would have changed momentum for the Browns defense, there's a dumb penalty that they called that, and they all led to points. Couldn't stop the Cardinals on 3rd and long on the goal line. God worked, salty Browns fans. Maybe kick the damn ball instead of going for it on 4th down. And all right, that one.
Hold on. Should I go first or should you go first?
You can.
How about this comment?
You can say what you want to say.
Okay. It doesn't matter if it's 4th down and 1, 4th down, 3rd down. It doesn't matter that if you have a chance and you have your offense on the field, 99% of the time you have to go on that 4th down. And I don't agree with this dude's comment. But like, it's up to the coach and the players.
Right.
But at the end of the day, people can say what they want.
Yep. It's when the quote unquote penalties occur. The ones against the Browns extend drives for the opponents and have directly led to points for the other team. The ones against the Cardinals did nothing to drastically alter a Cleveland drive. I don't think Cleveland would have won yesterday regardless, but it definitely would have been a better game. I'm listening to this kid talk about penalties and at the same time watching the game and seeing the Browns get torn apart. Kid, you should go back to streaming video games. Yeah, like that's what that's what I take. Like that's what I'm doing with my channel.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Okay. That's a little harsh.
Shout out to my man who wrote this comment though. Dude,
yeah, shout out to this.
Dude, don't be a blank, dude. And dude, geez, and you have to admit that most of those calls were already censored word horse shot. If the tables were turned, I'd be taking it up for the Cardinals or whoever. The NFL has to stop dictating games with stupid penalties and let the guys play on the field. Yes, you guys most likely still would have still won the game, but when you have something like this happens, it puts a stain on the product. You can't have that, no matter if it's the Browns or the Jaguars. And it's not just this game or just the Browns. It's rampant throughout the entire league. It's really bad. I'm going to say this. I know I've said this before, but officiating, especially bad officiating, should not play or officiating should not take a win away from someone from a team. And officiating should not take a team out of the game. If either of those happens, even if it's the worst team in the league going up against the best team in the league, that you got to admit that was a downright terrible job by the officials. Like that. That's just when the officials decided the outcome of the game before the game begins. That's unacceptable. Like if they are showing any sort of favoritism towards another team, that's unacceptable, in my opinion. All right, we're gonna finish up with a few more comments over here. If you all want to see some comedy, if you can check out the other comments that are on that video.
Or
also,
my video.
We're also kind of hoping that. Well, actually, we're definitely hoping that there's going to be some more entertaining comments that occur on this video. Anyways, one more. LMFAO, refs versus Browns. Nah, it's called the same old Browns against an actual great team. Get over it. Stop being a Browns fan. I said this earlier in the video. The Cardinals did not look impressive on Sunday. They did not look like a 30-point team. They looked like a sub 20-point team.
Who, the Cardinals or us?
Yes. The Cardinals did not play a 30-point game. With the way that they actually played, they were not a 30-point team. They kept getting bailed out. They kept putting the ball on the ground, although the Browns didn't. Although the Browns were not efficient or were not capable of capitalizing on those mistakes. The refs even took an interception away from the Browns when they called pass interference on, I want to say it was Denzel Ward, and then I think it was John Johnson the third would have had an interception, and the Cardinals ended up scoring points after that. They ended up scoring a touchdown after that play. Anyways, nope. I'm not going to stop being a Browns fan.
I'm not going to be stopped being a Browns fan. I got my hat right here. I'm just not going to show it.
Anyways, are you people idiots? The entire beginning of the video is the guy saying how poorly the Browns played. The fact remains that once again, the referees make horrible BS calls that extend drives and directly lead to touchdowns for the other team. I believe twice in this game, putting Cleveland in a big hole right away. Now, I don't think the Browns would have beaten Arizona yesterday regardless. They played terrible. We're down way too many number one players and are just terribly banged up. Way beyond the normal amount of banged up every team is. However, this would have been a completely different game if not for those calls. And there was a chance that Cleveland could have pulled out a W. It's completely demoralizing and crushing when you continuously get screwed by the refs and they basically give in the opponent's points. And that is exactly what's been happening. I think the Browns still have a long way to go before they can actually be called a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And the play calling and the plays in general has got to change because it's become stale and predictable. It doesn't matter what they do. If the officiating continues to blatantly screw them, the referees definitely took a win away from the Browns against the Chargers, and they put Cleveland in a big hole yesterday against Arizona. And then to that, I responded, my man gets it. Twice in the video, I criticized the way the Browns played, but all everyone hears is me crying about the refs. I agree. The refs are not the only reason why the Browns lost, but they were a big reason. Playing well, let alone winning, and while going up against the officials in any sport is nearly impossible. I'm wondering if these people have ever been on a team where I wonder if
I don't think if they have been on a team or they're just.
I'm wondering if some people have ever been on a sports team where you're clearly getting jobbed by the refs and they're not doing the same thing to the other team.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to bring this up for a point. You know, me and you play sports.
Yes.
You and me are players.
That's definitely turned into your catchphrase, Ty.
Can I just finish my point?
If we ever get a merch store and we're gonna have to get shirts that say you and me are both players. Yeah, that couldn't be taken the wrong way.
But let me get into this. We both know that the refs make bad calls in the leagues that we play in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just wanted to point that out. You got anything to add to that?
Nope. And with that, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you liked it, leave a like.
Subscribe.
Yeah, leave a comment.
You can see Marc
subscribe.
Take pies to the face.
You can't get the idea of you getting cream pies to your face out of your head.
Hey, should I put a poll for them to vote on our Twitter?
Sure.
I'll do that.
All right. Anyways, follow us or subscribe to our other channels and keep your heads in the game.